me. He also happens to be my sponsor, so that's completely true. I wouldn't be here today. And has also become a really good friend. He's a huge inspiration to our whole team, which I massively thank him for, but I know throughout the whole of the Clean Easy network as well. He joined about himself in 2000 with his gorgeous wife Claire. They're bronze premiers in the business. They've won the Executive Cup, the SCD Cup twice, and are current holders of that cup. They've been previously the Distributor of the Year, highest accolade in Clean Easy, and I know Peter would love that award again. They are holders of a 3 Series BMW, top 10 earners in the company, and have qualified for 17 of these amazing 5-star all-inclusive holidays. So a massive now round of applause, please, outstanding for one and only Pete Ryan.
After that recognition, do you mind if I just say me train and sit doing? Hey, I tell you what, only in Clean Easy. What an absolutely incredible business. Can I ask you a daft question? Are you all having a sensational day?
Yes!
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, guys. What I want to do, I want to share with you some information that I honestly believe will completely change your life. I don't say that lightly. I want you to think about this for just a moment. If you want nothing, if you aspire to nothing, if you want nothing other than what you already have in your life right now, then you are in an elite group. The reason I say that is because success is not measured in wealth. It's measured in contentment. And do you know what? If, for whatever reason, you haven't got everything that you want, if it pains you and frustrates you every day that you are not where you want to be, if you're so frustrated that there are times when you just don't even know whether you can continue on because you doubt whether you can achieve the success because it may well be that it has currently eluded you. And you have days when you doubt yourself and you wonder whether you can build this business. I just want you all to know that that is absolutely perfectly normal. But what you must not do is give up on the desire to aspire to the things that you want. Because you know what? If you give up on those things, you've lost. It's game over. Because one of the things I've come to realise is that the biggest regret that we will all experience is the regret of being able to live the life that we want to be able to live. And I believe that weeks turn to months, and months turn to years, and years turn to decades. It scares me to look back and see how fast time is going. And we often look and think we're not where we want to be. Well, do you know what? You've been involved today in an incredible event where you have seen people changing their lives. And if they can do it, you can damn well do it too. Because it does not take a special person, it only takes a special effort. Do not die with your music still inside of you. And you might think, there's plenty of time for me to do the things that I want to do. There's not. Because you will get to a certain point in your life when you will doubt whether you can do it, and you will slow down, you will down tools, and you will start to settle. And it doesn't have to be that way. I just want to take you very quickly back to my roots. This is the house that I lived in as a child. I went onto Google Maps the other day and I actually took a picture of it. That looks really posh compared to what it looked like when we lived there. Okay. I lived there with my mum and dad, and you know what? We were really, really poor. We didn't have nice holidays. I can't even remember ever going on one holiday with my mum and dad. The car that we had was a Sprat. I mean, my dad hand painted it with white emulsion, strong white gloss paint. Okay, we had no money at all. We were absolutely poor. When I used to go to school, and then some of my mates used to invite me to go around to their house for tea, and I used to look and see the way that they used to live. How did I have a house like that? I thought to myself, I wonder why my world isn't like their world. I wonder why they live in like private houses, and you know why they have lovely things, and their bedrooms are like really cool, you know, all the cool things, and you know, and just look really funky. And there was my bedroom with like wood chip. Alright? And like I had like a little second-hand table with my mum put like a little doily over the top of it, and I had like a little cheap radio. Do you know, we had no money whatsoever. None whatsoever. We were absolutely skint. And I remember going through my childhood, you know, feeling a little bit ashamed, to be honest with you, with kind of like what we had. You know, and I wondered why my mum and dad didn't have more money. But I tell you, we didn't have any money, but we had an abundance of love. Me, my mum, and my dad, we were like the three musketeers. We were so close. It was unbelievable. And do you know what? As I was actually growing up, all of my mates were into motorbikes. You know, we're all coming of age, 15, 16, getting a little 50cc mopeds. You know, we all thought we were like, you know, really cool bikers and things like that. Well, I had the jacket, but I didn't have the bike. I was the only one that didn't have a little moped. And I used to beg my dad, Dad, will you get me one? And my dad used to say to me, we can't afford it, son. We just can't afford it. If I had the money, I would buy you one. And you know what, as a child, you don't always understand fully why it is that you can't have the things that other people have got. But you know what, my dad felt my pain. And what my dad did was, I remember one Friday evening, he said to me, he said, son, he said, are you doing anything tomorrow? I said, no. He said, well, I've checked with the town car auctions. It's in Newcastle on the coast road, going towards Whitley Bay. And he said, there's an auction on, and I've checked. And he said, they have got a 50cc moped. He said, do you fancy going along? Sing a fucking bag of bargain. Do you know what? I was so excited. Now, I had in my mind the idea of the bike that I was looking for. Okay, I knew what my perfect bike was, and it was a Yamaha FS180DX. If anyone ever knows what that's like, yeah, come on. Okay, little yellow thing, 50cc Yamaha, and that was my dream of moped. But my dad said to me, son, we've got 100 quid. Now, going back, because I know I don't look 50. I don't look 50. But at the time I was like 50 and a half, going on 60, so it was going back. So even 100 quid was a lot of money then. But these bikes were typically going for around about 500-600 quid. Okay, it's a second-hand bike. And my dad, he put his arm around me and he said, now listen son, we've got 100 quid. I don't want you to get your hopes up. Expect the best, but be prepared to be disappointed, because I have no idea how much it's going to go for, and I've only got 100 quid. I said, okay, Dad, that's great, Dad. Just, you know, thanks for taking us. So do you know what? We went to this auction, okay? My dad said, we were sat right in the front. My dad said to me, he says, whatever you do, don't scratch your head, okay? Just keep your hands by your side, and don't sneeze, and don't nod, just be nout. Okay? And the auction started. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. we were having a quick look around before the auction started, and we were having a look to see what like the lots were. Do you know what? I walked in, and it was like something out of the film El Cid. Right? It was like this beam of light was shining through this lamplight on the ceiling, down at this moped. What was that moped? You guessed it. A Yamaha FS1 ADX in yellow. The exact bike that I wanted. I was absolutely... That's when my dad said, son, don't get your hopes up, only got 100 quid. Because he saw how excited I was for getting that bike. The auction started. He would start me off at 10 bid, 10 bid, 10 bid, 10 bid, 10 bid, 10 bid, general, and he would give me 10 bid, 10 bid, 20 bid, 20 bid, 20 bid, 30 bid, 30 bid, 30 bid, 30 bid, 40 bid, anyone 40 bid, 40 bid, 40 bid, 50 bid, 50 bid, 50 bid, 60, 60, 70, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid. The sweat was dripping off me. This is so stressful. 80 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 90 bid, 90 bid, 90 bid, 90 bid, 100, 100, 100, 100, 110, 110, 120, 130, 140. Do you know what? Hear your big girl's legs. Do you know what, guys? I never said a word to my dad. I just put my head down like that. And I swear to God, I was so emotional, I had little tears running down my face. I really, really did. I don't know if you've ever wanted something so much and it felt like it was so close. And then all of a sudden it just slipped away. The bidding went on, 170, 170, 170, 180, 180, 180, 180, 185, 185. When it stopped, anyone give me in £5 intervals because it started slow, 185, 185, 185, any more on 185, 185, 185, any more on 185. Would anyone give me £5 on 185, 190, 190, 190? Are we all done at 190? I'm asking you, are we all done at 190? 190, 190, and do you know what? My dad put his hand up at 195. And do you know what? I was so emotional. You've got no idea what that meant to me. No idea what that meant to me. And do you know what, guys? That was the Yamaha FS1. It was a magic moment. But I tell you what was really, really special about that magic moment. What was really, really special about that moment for me personally was, it was the first time that I ever got to experience the euphoria of getting something that you really, really wanted. It was amazing. And that day, my dad became my hero. He did. He became my hero. When we got home that day, my dad sold his car because he'd overstretched himself. And for 6 months, my dad got the bus to work. And he got that because he knew how important that bike was to me. And that's why my dad became my hero. Up until that point, he was just my dad. We kind of take things for granted, don't we? It's just man, it's just dad. And that day, my dad became my hero. And do you know what? That's me. That's me. Alright? Age 17. Now, I'm not proud of this. When I left school with no education whatsoever, I didn't stick in at school, and my mum was absolutely gutted. My mum said things to me like, you will end up emptying people's bins. She said, you have absolutely failed. And, you know, it was just a mum's mechanism. She banged on at me for years for sticking at school. I never stuck in at school. And when I completely bombed, and my dad turned around and said, Nancy, he'll be all right. That lad's got magic inside of him. He'll always be all right. Do you know, my dad always believed in me, even when everybody else had completely written me off. He believed in me. But you know what's even more powerful? I believed in my dad. Because when he said to me everything was going to be all right, I believed him. So I actually believed I had magic inside of me. And he said, so when you least expect it, it's all going to turn out all right for you as long as you continue to be the best that you can be. And do you know what, guys? My very, very first 2 jobs, you would never have, you perhaps might have doubted my dad's confidence in me, because my very, very first job, I used to be a fridge cleaner in a butcher's shop. It was bloody awful. The blood. I wasn't swearing, sorry. It was awful. I used to go into this fridge, it was freezing cold. I used to go, I used to reach and things like that all the time. I absolutely hated it. Okay, I hated it. So I thought, I've got to get out of here. So I applied for this job, and it was an environmental technician. I thought, now that's in keeping with someone who's got magic inside of them. And then when I turned up for the interview and then I got the job, I found out it was just a posh name for a drain cleaner. So I got this job as a drain cleaner, and honestly, that was just absolutely diabolical. You talk about jumping up the frying pan. It was terrible. I thought, I can't stick it there. Anyway, long story short, a mate of mine got me a job working as a carpet cleaner. There was a bit of thread there. It was all to do with like clean. It's ironic that I got involved in this company called Clean Easy. Alright? But like, I got a job as a carpet cleaner. And do you know what, guys? At first I joined, I had all this enthusiasm. I was going to be the best person in that role, okay? But within about 6 months, do you know what? I'd fallen into exactly all of the same bad habits as everybody else. I had. Everybody was always whinging and whining and moaning and groaning about being overworked and underpaid. Alright, with no advancement opportunity. And I found myself hanging out with that crowd. I tell you what, guys, okay? That's the power of social conditioning. Be careful of the company you keep. Alright? Keep around positive people, because I was around whinging, whining, stinking, thinking people. And it wasn't long before I became like them. Alright? Until one day, I was sent to this guy's house to clean his carpet, okay? And it was to remove a red wine stain from this Chinese rug. And so I was sent to this house. Anyway, I pulled up outside of this. It was a mansion. It was an absolute mansion. And I thought, whoa, I've never even seen a property like this before. So what I did was I rang the intercom, okay? And this Scottish guy answered, okay, Alistair Mackenzie. I thought, and anyway, he opened the big gates like this, okay? And I drove up the gravel drive, I drove around the fountain, and I parked my little yellow van next to this red Ferrari. I just thought, wow. And do you know what? I was so in awe of everything. The house, the guy, the Ferrari, the fountain, the electric gates. I was just like, I was completely overwhelmed, and I just had to ask this guy a question. I said to him, Alistair, how can I get rich like you? He said to me, young Pete, if you want what others have got, you've got to do what others won't. If you want more, you've got to give more. And that's how we create opportunity. Do you know what, guys? I was absolutely buzzing. I thought to myself, do you know what? I made a decision there and then. I was going to put his career advice to the test. I was going to become the happiest, hardest working, friendliest, most competent, capable, hardest working, lowest paid carpet cleaner that they had ever employed. And I set about my task. I was first in the morning, I was last to go home in the evening, I was first to volunteer for any overtime. I would go the extra yard in everything. I would even give the customers a little sample of stain remover just to impress them. And when I'd clearly got them impressed and they were kind of eating out the palm of my hand, I asked them a favour. And I said to them, if you're really happy with the quality of my cleaning and the standard of my work, would you do me a favour? And would you write a letter into my boss and just kind of say that I've done a great job? But I didn't tell him I've asked. And do you know what, guys? A few months later, I was called into the office. And the boss was a guy called Frank Small. And he called me in the office and he says, "Baby, sit down. He says, do you know what? He says, I can't believe the change I've seen in you. He says, you've got a spring in your step, you're like a model operative. He says, you wouldn't believe it. He says, I've even had customers write in letters about you. And he grabbed them letters and he slapped them onto the desk like that. I just looked at him and went, never know that. And do you know what, guys? What I hadn't even done with those customers, I had even left them with an envelope with a stamp on. Because there's always something we can do to influence a more favourable outcome. And you know what? Don't you just love when a plan comes together? And that day, I stepped into management. My boss offered me a job in management, my wage doubled, I got my first ever company car. And I walked out of that office with my head held high. And do you know what? My work colleagues could not understand how that could have happened to me. I was the last person to get employed, yet I was the first one to get promoted. Do you know what, guys? What I have come to realise, what Alistair Mackenzie said, when you give more, you get more. If you think about it, I was still working in that same old job, before I got the promotion. I was still working with the same old people. I was still being paid the same old job. So what had changed? What actually had changed? Just me. I had changed. I had decided to stand out in the crowd. Now, that was me, age 17, on my first day in my new job. And do you know what, guys? I only stayed in that company for about 6 months. And then the money that I had saved and the contacts that I had made, I set up my own business. And when I set up my own business, within 4 years, I had become a millionaire. Now, I didn't have £1 million in the bank, okay, but I was a millionaire on paper. All because I had taken on board that advice that day from Alistair Mackenzie. If you want what others have, you must do what others won't. How many of us can relate that in our clean, easy business? We know what we need to do, but for some reason, you either don't or you won't do it. Guys, that was my life at 21. Can you imagine what it was like being a millionaire at 21? I was like a kid in a toy shop. The 911 Porsche, the speedboats, the motocross bikes, the jet set lifestyle. It was absolutely awesome. I even remember turning up at the school reunion 2 hours early, just so I could park the Porsche right outside the door. Now, guys, I know that's a bit shallow, but I tell you what, it felt great. It really, really did. But I tell you what, guys, I tell you what was really special was being able to buy my mum and dad a first ever private car. Remember, we had an out, and my dad believed in me. And do you know what, guys? When I was able to buy, I pulled up outside of that house with my mum and dad. I got out of the car, and I said, where are we going? And do you know what? I handed him the keys. My dad threw his arms around me and he said, son, I am so proud of you. And do you know what, guys? How many people ever get a chance to be able to do that for parents? Not that many. Now, what's important here, guys, is that sometimes we all know that we can experience some difficult times. And do you know what, guys? I had that up until the age of 35. And then I absolutely lost everything. The market's changed, I made some bum decisions. Okay, I was living like a playboy, I thought nothing could go wrong. And I did make some bad decisions. And I ended up losing everything. The house, the car, the lifestyle, everything went. And do you know what, guys? I could cope with that. Kinda. But I tell you what I couldn't cope with. When I had to go and tell my mum and dad that I had to get out of the house. Can you imagine how that felt? It was the worst thing I have ever had to do in my life. And at the time, my dad had been diagnosed with cancer and had only given him 6 months to live. And I had to tell him I had to get out of the house. The next 2 years were extremely challenging. Now, why am I telling you about this? Because I know that there's probably not a single person in here sat on this chair that isn't having some challenges in the world. Well, I'm here to say that you will get through them. You can get through them. It's not easy, but you can do it. You heard it today from Jackie. You are all special people. We're all capable of so much more. We were being taken to court. I lost everything. We got given a council house. We started getting to the point where we'd even fall behind in our payments with all of our liabilities, even though I'd lost everything and gone bankrupt, and I'm now living in this council house. I was being taken to court for 28 quid because I couldn't afford to pay my telephone bill. I was buying my children's Christmas presents and car boot sales. I was going to the cheap shops on Gateshead High Street with a scoop, and I was scooping the contents into a plastic bag. That's where I was when I joined Clean Easy. We had a repossession order served on our property to get out of the council house. These were really, really challenging times, and I was in this dark place. I was hugely depressed, having lost everything. And my dad was obviously extremely ill, and they had to move into rented accommodation. These were very, very difficult times. How many of us can relate to that? How many of us know that it's not the knockdown that's important, it's the get-ups. If you get knocked down, you get right back up. And if you get knocked down again, you get back up again. And do you know what, guys? This slide is really, really poignant. And I'll tell you for why. Because that was, if you would imagine, kind of what it was like in that 2-year period that I just explained to you. And I was down on my luck, but do you know what? I was starting to come out of it just a little bit. I was starting to think, I can't put my family through this for any longer. I can't have this pain and hardship and put my family and my kids through this any longer. I can't continue to feel this terrible every single day. Something has to change. And do you know what? Of our films, Rocky Flippin' 2 came on the telly. I'm sitting watching Rocky. Who's watched Rocky 2? Show of hands. Do you know the final scene when they're knocking hell with each other? I mean, Rocky's down on the canvas, he's up, he's down, he's up, he's down, he's up. Okay, and they're getting knocked down, knocking each other to hell. Well, you know that big punch when Rocky and Apollo both hit each other at the same time. And it's the last round, and Rocky's way behind. In fact, if he doesn't get a knockout, he's out, alright? And all of a sudden, they punch each other. And they both go down. Do you know what? I'm screaming at the screen, Rocky! Get up, man! Get up! Come on, son! Get up! But the mad thing about this is I've watched it 20 times and I think But see, I'm in the zone. I'm connected. To me, it wasn't about Rocky, and that's just fictional anyway. But for me, it was a story about life. It was about getting knocked down and getting back up, and somebody who's got dreams, someone who's got aspirations, somebody who's prepared to fight for what it is that they want. And I could relate to that. That was me on the canvas. I'm shouting, get up, get up. I'm shouting to myself. And do you know what, guys? We got started in Clean Easy. And my sponsor, Gary Watson's in the room. Gary, can you stand up, please? Where are you? Where's Gary Watson? Give him a round of applause. That guy saved my life. He's my best mate in the world. I love him like a brother. We still communicate every day, and we have done for 14 years. I didn't have the money to join Clean Easy, and he even lent me 150 quid. And I owe that lad. I'm indebted to him. But because he earns loads of money, he's not getting out. So guys, we started Clean Easy. In our first month, never done this before, £401.99. It works! Seventh month there, £1,305. We've been in the business for just 5 years, and our income had gone £6,000 a month. And do you know what, guys? We've never done anything like this before. I was a rookie. And do you know what, guys? All we did was apply exactly the same principles that I had learned of that multi-millionaire Alistair McKenzie. I applied exactly the same principles into this because there was a success formula. Go the extra yard, exceed expectations, do what others won't. It was generic success principles. And I applied the same. We changed our life. There was an article that was going from rags to riches. This was with the Enterprise magazine, given a 3 Series BMW. Our income touching nearly £9,000 in 4 weeks. This is the guy that was on the bones of his backside, who started with a Clean Easy bag over his shoulder and wondered if this would work for me. We changed our life with Clean Easy. If you want what others have, be prepared to do what others do. How many people talk about, oh, I'm going to do my cards up, I'm going to do my flyers, I'm going to do my follow-up calls, oh, I'm going to hit a target, I'm going for my 13%, I'm going for gold, I'm going to consistently sponsor, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But do you do it? Not everybody does. But you know what? I did. Why? Because of the size of my reason why. I couldn't live like that anymore. I drew a line in the sand. It was one of those emotional junctions where you think to yourself, I can't live like this anymore. That's where success is won and lost. Nowhere else. This business is 95% mental and only 5% physical. So let's just look at the key points, just in case it's not 100% perfectly clear what it actually is that I did that made the difference. I decided to raise my standards. The other guys in there weren't prepared to do that because they were paid a crap wage. But I was prepared to raise my standards even though I was still being paid the same wage. So in other words, I was prepared to work on the promise that things will get better when I get better. Some people think, no. You give me the money first, I'll give you my best. Don't work like that. Don't work like that. I was working a plan. The company might go, wow, isn't he a great asset to this company? Maybe. I wasn't doing it for them. Doing it for me. You're not doing clean easy, for clean easy. Trust me, they're successful anyway. You're doing clean easy for you. I had my plan, for me and my personal reasons. You have your plan. But then when you've got a plan, if I was to say to you, right, show me your plan for the next 3 months, you might think, oh no, because you haven't got one, you're carrying it around up there. Trust me guys, if it's up there, it's not, it's down there. Because you know what, that's all you're going to do, sit on it. It's true. And you wonder why you don't make the progress that you want to make. If you want what others have, you must do what others won't. Other people won't make plans. That means you have to. While everyone else is zigging, you need to zag. Whatever the rest of the world's doing, don't do that. You need to do what's over here, in the minority. Whenever you're faced with a decision, ask yourself, what would the majority do? And whenever you come to that decision, whatever the answer is, don't do it. Alright? So guys, I didn't focus on the activity. Sorry, the immediate results, I focused on the activity. I didn't get promoted 3 days into my new plan of going the extra yard and giving away my free stain remover. I got promoted months later. You could have been forgiven up on that plan thinking nobody was noticing. But we were. It takes time. I focused on the activity, the results will come. I improved my relationships. I was much more friendly with my boss. I was much more friendly with my customers. When there was times I was getting a little bit frustrated with a customer, I used to smile and facilitate. You've got to look at the quality of your relationships with your sponsor. How often do you ring them? The quality of the communication. The quality of the communication with your customers. The quality of your communication with your team. Everything successful comes from the quality of the relationship. You've got a good relationship with your bank manager, you're alright. You've got a bad relationship, you're out. You've got a good relationship with your spouse, you're in. You've got a bad relationship, you're out. It's all about the quality of your relationship. I gave more. Nobody else was prepared to get in early. No one else was prepared to volunteer. And no one else was prepared to stay late. I was. What are you being selective about in your clean easy business? I'll do this, but I'll not do that. I exceeded expectations. I went the extra yard. I've been in the business 14 years. I'm still stipending a new team member who wants to step in the team building at 10 o'clock the other night. Some people might be thinking, oh, I'll stop now. I'm still stipending at 10. I walked up the stairs on my way to bed that night. I looked at the last couple of stairs and thought, oh yeah, I didn't have to make them last couple. And I got into bed, I was shattered. And then I'm up again at 5:30 with my little puppy Bob. And then my little son actually jumping into bed and having a cuddle and kicking and moaning and pushing us and nudging us and wanting to talk and what we're going to do with the day, Daddy. And do you know what, guys? When I was given more, there was no guarantee. There was no guarantees, so to speak. that I was going to get that promotion. But I proceeded anyway. Why? Because I was given some wise advice from a multi-millionaire who said, if you do this, you will achieve success, because that's all I have done. And if it's good enough for him, and he's telling me that's what he's done, I would be insane not to follow that same advice. I was persistent and consistent. In other words, you keep going when you're not getting the results that you actually want. I wanted to get promoted on flipping day one. You want to get the best possible pickup you could ever get. You want to have a team built by the end of the week. I know that. Do you not think I wanted that too? I'm doing for time. I can't afford one. We've got the one and only Richard McCann next. I don't want to take any of his time. How long have I got, Scotty? How many? Oh, champion. I know that's unprofessional, Richard, but, you know, clean, easy people. It's got me up on the nose, man, trying to be professional. I thought, oh, what the hell, I'll just be myself. Persistent and consistent. I tell you what, guys, it takes courage and vision. It takes vision to see your life the way you want it to be when it's currently not, and you're putting the work in and you're not where you want to be, and it's not quite happening the way you want it to happen. It takes courage. It takes belief. It takes trust, faith, whatever you want to call it. My approach to work had changed. It wasn't work. It was advancement activity. Some people associate work and pain in the same sentence because most people are overworked and underpaid. So they've got the same word association. Look upon the work you're putting into your clean easy business is what's taking you to the promised land. So every time you pick up that phone when you don't want to, it's taking you closer to the promised land. Look at differently, just change your perspective. Glass half full, half empty. You choose how you see what it is what you're doing. When I stepped into Clean Easy, when I was even a young kid working that plan for my employer, do you know what, guys? I was in the zone. I knew what I was doing. I knew where I was going. And I was prepared to have some vision. And I was focused. I was going for it. But guys, when you do it, and you do these things, what happens is inevitability kicks in. Predictable outcomes, okay? I create an opportunity. When you go the extra yard, when you exceed expectations, when you make more phone calls, when you keep more consistent, when you track your results, when you work close with your sponsor, all of these things, guys, okay, it's creating an opportunity. Alistair McKenzie. You get more, and that's how we create opportunity. You have to take responsibility. And do you know, guys, when you break that down, it's just your ability to respond. Your ability to respond to whatever is facing right now, you as a challenge. You might not be getting great pickups, so what are you going to do about it? How are you going to respond to it? Are you going to respond to it positively? This is not going to get me down. I'll just keep on going. I'll show you. I'm going to keep going. Or are you going to let it take it out? If you're frustrated that your team isn't growing as fast as you would like it to grow, and you're putting time and effort in, you might work in the corporate world and earn 20, 30, 40 grand a year. And right now you might be earning flipping 10 grand a year doing Clean Easy. And you might think, I'm working my nuts off. And I'm not earning that kind of money yet. I know. But when you are earning 20, 30, 40, 50,000 pounds a year, and it's residual income, and you're getting paid whether you get out of bed in the morning. We took 3 years off and we earned just shy of £300,000 and I took 3 years off the business. That's the power of residual income, and that's why it's different, and that's why it's worth working towards, no matter how challenged you might be in the moment. So you've got to be clear on what you want. If you don't walk out of this room today, or at least by tomorrow, and you don't know what you want out of this business, or what you want out of life, or what's driving you forward, or what it is that's going to get you out of bed in the morning to do the things, to go the extra yard where others wouldn't, if you don't know what that is, you are going to struggle to stay on task. Sacrifices. Are you prepared to make them? Are you?
Yeah.
Do you? Yes. Right results. Play the numbers here, mate. Seriously, guys, you've got to make some sacrifices. What are you going to give up? What are you going to give up? What are you going to reorder in terms of priorities? You can't build your business when you focus on your lifestyle. You know, there comes a time when you have to do some priority work first, get that in order, and then you can do that. Okay, you have to shuffle things around a little bit. Success is rarely convenient. So what is it that's holding you back? Right now, with you, in your business, what is it that's holding you back? Look at you, Kevin. Not for any particular reason. Rob, anyone. Mark, Steve. What's holding you back? What is holding you back? There'll be something that is stopping you from doing the things with as much enthusiasm because there's something up there that is stopping you from doing and becoming your best. What is it? You've got to cowboy up. You've got to man up. You've got to face it. Alright? Knowledge and skills. Some people think they can build this business and there's nothing at all that they need to develop in terms of any skills. Of course you have to. Anything that can pay you 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, people in WA, 200,000 pounds a year. Well, I've got to learn some skills. Oh yeah, flipping joking. That's a bit of a bummer. How? Weird, man. You've got to get real. But you know what, guys? It's not rocket science. Read a few books, get a little bit good on the phone, and be a good listener, and offer good support on the business that you understand. It doesn't take a great amount of skill, but it does take some development. So if you're not frightened of the phone, you're not very confident on the phone, then you just need to get on the phone, because that's the only way that you are ever going to be able to master it, and that's what's standing in the way of you making progress. Don't allow anything to stand in the way. This is your life. And you have one life, and you have one shot. You get one time around this track. Show me the plan. Oh, it's not working, you know, the business isn't building, my income's not where it wants to be, that's not where I need it to be. And I turn around and say, let's have a look at the plan. Let's have a look at your plan you've been working. Let's have a look at the plan. Show me your plan. Jeff, you got your plan there? Excellent, great stuff. Do you know what most people say? Oh, what's that? Hello? I've just got to go. They don't have a one. You've got to have a plan. So show me your plan. Show your sponsor your plan. If you don't show them your plan, then you are not serious about changing your life. They're there to help you. They're not there to look at it and pull it a bitch and say you're useless. They're there to turn around and say, wow, let's have a look at that. How can we fine-tune it? How can we get it to work for you to get what you want? There's so few people do that. Your sponsor's delighted when you come forward with a plan. Doesn't matter if it's crap. They'll help you get it right, okay? But guys, the strength of your reason why. Because I could sit here, or stand here, or we could take hours and hours and hours, and I could explain to you everything that we do in great detail to get the results that we get. But if you haven't got a strong reason why, it makes any difference. Because you just won't drive yourself to the start line. If you haven't got something that's important to you, that's worth fighting for. As Les Brown says, what are you prepared to fight for? Work day and night for. That was my reason why. No way was I putting my family back through that again. I decided, I drew a line in the sand, I was moving on. No way was I going back to that core thing. No way was I going to be putting food in the cheap bags and buying my children's Christmas presents and car boot sales. No way was I going to be doing that anymore. And my dad believed in me, and I had achieved success, and I'd lost success. And he told me I had magic inside of me, and I know the secret of success, and I've shared it with you today. And if you can do it once, you can do it twice, says Claire. Or maybe even 3 times. Okay? And my dad's my hero. You know that. And I wanted to prove to him that I wasn't just lucky. And I've done it before, I can do it again. And that drove me forward. And that became our clean, easy house. So it's a far cry from the little council house that was getting repossessed. I'm embarrassed to take people inside of that house. Everything is cream and white. And we've got kids and dogs. Bad planning. But you know what, guys? My little £300 Ford Escort is now a 50 grand BMW. Get rich, change your life, working from home, ask Pete. I love driving slow in traffic jams. I drive dead slow like that, like, just so I can get a good look. You know? And I'm looking in the mirror to see if anyone's writing it down in the passenger seat. I love it, man. Okay. Okay, guys, the garden's nice, the conservatory's nice, you know, the play area's lovely for the bands. Do you know what, guys? We have a great life. We do great things. We travel the world with Clean Easy and outside of Clean Easy. We do wonderful things. I absolutely am blessed. Yeah, a few years ago, the world was falling apart. Do you know what, guys? 2 slides I want to share with you now. Get in, Scotty. Come back on time now. Can't see it. Tell me you think I'm planned it. This is my dad a few months before he died. Do you know what? Some of you have heard this story before, I know, but some people haven't. But it's such a powerful story, it serves as a very poignant reminder. We were always going to do the fishing thing, and we never got round to it. And when I knew my dad, when he had a couple of months to live, there was that little bit of panic setting. I was like, Dad, is there anything that you want to do? Anywhere you want to go, anything you want to experience? And we both said, let's do the fishing thing. Do you know, guys, we were going to do that fishing thing since I was 14 years old. We never did. We didn't have a fishing rod. Yeah, no, we didn't even know how to fish. Just one of them things was said as a kid, oh, let's go fishing, and we never did. So anyway, we went to the shop and we bought all the bits and pieces and we went down with Sam Shields on the pier. We had a rod each, we couldn't get the flipping things to work. My dad was trying to get the flipping coil out of your pallets. I mean, I'm like, oh, trying to get the coil, trying to work it out. Well, we're not that, that's any good. So I had one rod between the two of them. So we get this thing, we're getting to work and all that, like, you know. And we finally got it, we got the beard on. And we were like, we kind of looked at each other because it was like an epic moment. We looked at each other like this. He says, are you ready, Dad? He goes, I am, son. And we got that thing out, we were on a big pier. And I didn't have to like, knock this thing off and put that thing on the top of the sky. Anyway, I just went there. And I managed to hang onto the rod. And the line went there. And it went down like that. I was standing there watching it. And it got tangled. It got tangled in the wire. What they say, wire? What do you call the line? The line is tangled above the top of the water like that. It didn't even go in the water. By this time, we'd been on hours and hours and hours. And my dad's hands were starting to turn blue because you could feel the cold. And I looked at my dad and we laughed. I said, what do you want to do, Dad? He said, come back home and have a cup of tea, son. I said, you know what, we went back home, we had a cup of tea. But you know, guys, I tell you what the power of that story says to me. Why is it that we leave? Why do we leave important things in our lives until we're threatened with losing it? Why is it that the only time we really lose weight is when we go to the doctors and the doctors turn around and say, you put that much weight on, your cholesterol's so high, if you don't change your habits, you're going to kill yourself. Why is it that we wait until our marriages are falling apart before we decide to value the woman or the man that we've chosen to live our life with? Why we take it for granted until the relationship becomes threatened? Why do we leave doing all the important things in our lives until we get to the point where we're in a crisis or we need to do? Guys, the moral of the story is we have only one life and we have one shot and the clock is ticking. And there are so many special things I'm sure each and every one of you want to be able to do in your life. And you've got to get in tune with that. You've got to realise that you've got hold of something in the palm of your hands I can give you that. The job world isn't going to give you that. Even the traditional business isn't going to give you that. And you've got this wonderful business called Clean Easy in the palm of your hands. If you will only be prepared to do the things that others won't, you will have the things that others have. The people who are succeeding. Do you know what, guys? That was my dad about a week before he died. Broke my heart to see him. Absolutely broke my heart. And as I held his hand on his deathbed, I said to my dad, I never let you down, Dad. And he says, I know you didn't, son. I know you didn't. He made me proud. He made me so proud. And do you know what, guys? Throughout my full life, I have always given my very, very best. And my question is to everyone here, are you giving your best? Because do you know what, guys? This business can change your life if you're prepared to give you your best. That's what you've done. Thank you very much for coming.